Every CFO I talk to says the same thing, that net dollar retention is the single most important metric in their business, and it's the most annoying one to actually calculate. The blended number is easy, but the second you try to break it down by cohort, by segment, you're spending half a day in Excel just making decisions about edge cases before you've written a single formula. I'm going to build this entire model from scratch in about 20 minutes using Claude and Excel. We're going to go from a messy revenue export to a board-ready NRR analysis with segment cuts. And I'll show you every step along the way. All right, so here's what my RevOps team sent me. Let's see what we're working with. All right, so we've got customer IDs, a segment column, start dates, monthly revenue, contract type. I took a quick look before. There's about 80 customers in here and about 3 full years of data. So on the surface, it looks fine, but let's see what Claude thinks. Here's what I'm going to ask. My RevOps team sent me this export. It's revenue data. I need to build an NRR cohort model. Cohorts by start quarter and also cut by segment. This is key. Before we start building anything, can you look at this data and tell me what decisions I need to make and what problems you see? All right, I'm going to hit enter, reading Python. I don't know Python. That's nice. All right, it's done thinking. Here's what I found. There's some real data quality issues your RevOps team should know about, plus several modeling decisions you'll need to make before I build anything. Okay, so it knows it's 80 customers. All right, wow, over 1,400 rows. There's 3 segments, SMB, mid-market, and enterprise. And it goes from January of 2022 to December of 2024. So 12 quarterly cohorts are possible, 3 years. And the contract types are monthly and annual. So segment naming is a mess. 10 variants for 3 tiers. Let's see, is it right? It is. Look at that. Mid-market, 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 MM, SMB. Yep. I'll need to normalize these. Straightforward. Cool. Data are raw Excel serial numbers and are stored as numbers, not a blocker, but I'll need to convert. Cool. Negative MRR shows minus 2,500 MRR 1 month, sandwiched between normal 1,200 months. Likely a credit or refund. Nice pickup. Gaps in data, possible churn and reactivation. Single row customers. All right. Decisions I need from you. Ask user question. All right. Shrink that. First full month or starting MRR, skip prorated, 0 fill gaps. All right, so it's going to ask me these questions. Ask me the questions and I'll answer. How should I handle prorated first month? I want to annualize the prorated portion. Several customers with multi-month gaps in their data. Active, 9 months missing, active again. Treat as churn, exclude reactivation, 0 fill the gaps. What NRR time grain do you want for the cohort model? I think it meant frame. I'm going to say, let's do this on a quarterly NRR. How should NRR be calculated across periods? Cumulative versus start. Ooh, credit refund. Floor at 0, include as is. I'm going to exclude this one. Which field should define which quarter a customer belongs to? So this goes back to when you signed it versus when there was revenue. I'm going to go with start date because that's what we're paying the reps on. Do you agree with my choices based on best practices? Let's see. Maybe I'm tired and getting it wrong. Good question. All right. Okay. All right. Let's switch. I agree. Floor at 0. Good job, Claude. I'm going to say, let's go. So first it's going to need to clean the data for me. All right. So it looks like it's done. Let's see what it came up with. So this was the raw data, if you remember. So it kept the raw data intact, which is great practice. NRR cohort. So Q1, Q2, all the way through Q4 has the number of customers each time. And the starting MRR, Q0. I'm going to ask it some questions here. I don't understand Q0. Why is it so much lower than the cohorts continuing to the right? Oh, okay. So customers don't start on day 1 of the quarter. If a customer starts in February, they only have 2 months of data in Q1, not 30. So the quarterly average is diluted. Yeah, so that's like a throwaway quarter denominator. So it did exactly what I told it to, but I don't technically need Q0. I think Q0 is a throwaway period then. I'm going to hit allow once. So it's always going to ask if it can delete cells. So what you see is it did split it out by SMB, mid-market, enterprise. Those are the 3 segments I wanted. All right, so Q0 removed from both sheets. Tables don't start at Q1, the first full quarter after the cohort starting quarter, which is the first period with a meaningful apples-to-apples NRR reading. Nice. NRR Cohort, 12 cohorts, Q1 through Q11 columns. Same structure across SMB, mid-market, and enterprise sections. For conditional formatting, okay, so let's get that too. So it still looks like some of these are starting at a funky number, right? You'd think they'd all just start at 0, 100% and go down. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to give it even better context. So this time around, I'm going to give it an extremely specific prompt. So I'm going to do, so I'm going to start over. What we're going to see here is the power of context. So too long to type for you. So I'm going to just paste it in and read it back, okay? So if you remember last time, I basically just told it, go. So now I'm going to say, I need to build an NRR cohort model from this data. Let's start with the cleanup. Create a new sheet called clean data and do the following. Pull all the raw data over it and add a segment clean column that normalizes the segment labels. Map SMB, SMB, SMB to SMB, mid-market, blah, 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 blah. Add a cohort quarter column based on the contract start date. Formatted as Q1, blah, blah, blah. Add a months and start column, so I know. Add an MRR clean column for any customer's first month where the MRR looks prorated, lower than their second month. Use the second month's value instead. All other months, keep the original MRR. Add a reactivation flag column if a customer has a gap of 1 or more months in their revenue, flag for every. Keep the original data untouched in the current sheet and name it raw data. Remember last time it didn't even give me a tab that was named raw data? So I actually got this prompt from Claude because I was messing around the desktop version first and said, what would make for the best prompt if I'm doing this? So I took the extra 5 minutes and it came up with this prompt based on the data set. So I'm basically feeding itself its own prompt. So we're going to try that again. Let's rock and roll. So once again, we are giving it tons of context and directions. Go, go, go. All right, let's see what it came up with. Nice. So it went through and cleaned all the data. We didn't take this step last time around, right? We went straight for it. This looks better, and it kept the raw data. So no more of that SMB mix up. All right, ready to build. What NRR cohort views do you want? Okay, cool. So it's asking me better questions than before. I want full breakdown, dollar-based NRR cohort. I want all the above. What time granularity for the cohort columns? I want monthly. Reactivation, I would include them as is. Got it. I'll check in after the first sheet is done. All right, now it's writing the 3 sheets. Wow, so it looks like it's done. Let's take a look. Nice. So you see, remember in the clean data had months and start? That's what we're missing before. And it has clean MRR and a reactivation flag. So now I'm going to go over here. Cool. It starts at 100. Remember before we didn't have it starting at 100? It's starting at some funky number. NRR components. Nice. So bridges each one by component. That's really cool. Then it has by segment. This is great, but the color shading seems to be off. Green should represent the highest, shifting to yellow and orange as red as the numbers get worse. Right now, 100% is yellow. I want to say it looks like a Christmas tree. Can you use coloring and formatting that an investment banker at Goldman Sachs would use? This is ugly. Oh, now we're cooking. All right, let's see what we got here. The formatting is a lot better. I don't know if I would have used blue for all of these, so I might ask it later to change it back to the green, yellow, red. But I get the point. At least I can read it now. And it has the months across the top. This is pretty cool with the NRR components. This is the build by basically each purchase that was made across those cohorts. Here's the expansion dollars. Oh, nice. Okay, so this is churn from customers going to 0. Contraction, so just decreasing but still alive. Then these are the expansions from the prior month. And then I can look at it by segment. So remember, I wanted to look at it by segment: SMB, mid-market, and enterprise. Boom. Each one has its own table. So what I'm going to say is, what are your board level takeaways on the health of our business by segment and any changes we need to immediately make where the business is soft? All right, here are our takeaways. Overall blended 12-month NRR is 95.6, below the good threshold. I'd say so. A blended NRR under 100% means we are shrinking inside our existing customer base. For a SaaS business, anything below 100% signals we're going backwards. Segment level diagnosis. Enterprise is 102. Okay, 15 customers. Healthy, only segment with net expansion. Mid-market. Ouch. Leaking contraction is systemic. SMB, not good. Critical, losing 21% of revenue annually. So we got a leaky bucket, folks. Mid-market and SMB. SMB is a knife fight. Enterprise is carrying the business. It's the only segment generating net expansion, driven by 4 accounts, and it knows the accounts. Look at that. Mid-market is the soft middle. 9 of 25 contracted, only 6 expanded. Wow. SMB is a value destruction engine at current economics. Wow. Tell me how you really feel. But it's true. 3 immediate actions required. SMB, decide, fix or deprioritize. Stop selling them. Mid-market, plug the contraction leak. Enterprise, protect and expand. This is amazing. The board question. If SMB were at 100% NRR instead of 79 and mid-market were 100% instead of 88, how much incremental ARR would we retain? And went the next step to tell me how much value is being destroyed. Bleeding 174K in ARR, 559. Total retention gap, 633K in ARR that shouldn't be walking out the door. Wow. One more thing. I'd love to visualize this with a waterfall chart. Company-wide net retention by period as well as each segment. All right, let's see what it came up with. Came a company-wide quarterly MRR bridge. So this is how much is coming in or out. You can see leakage there. And this is SMB. That's a bloodbath. This is mid-market. This is enterprise. That's the one that's above water. So it gave me all the charts I need. All right, so this has been fun. It's been a bit of a journey. And what we did was a full net dollar retention analysis, starting with just some raw data that was in some pretty tough shape. Now what we have are some takeaways that we can take back to management to talk through intelligently. Thanks for tuning in. I will provide links to all of these in my newsletter, mostlymetrics.com, along with the prompts that I use to generate this. Appreciate you tuning in, and until next time.